Assalamu alaikum, people. See. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, my friends? Everyone's okay. Yeah, see, like
when they listed
for asking for NHS pay rise.
people start thinking about what is an essential worker, it was notable that they didn't include hedge fund management,
Hello.
CEOs
Hi.
of multinational companies, and nor did it include banking. And I think that is something that we should all think very seriously about. And finally, I'd just like to say to anybody who's not, and I hope most of the people are, one of the lessons that I think we've all learned, or should have learned from what's been going on, is this. Join a union. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm not a person with numbers, I'm a person with heart. I just want to say thank you for everybody that came here today. This isn't about nurses, this is about every single one of you, yeah? Every single person knows somebody who works in the NHS. If it's not a supporter, a cleaner, a radiologist, a physiotherapist or an OT, we're a massive group of people that help others. I want to say that we're a very peaceful and very kind profession, but I think it's time to get angry. I think it's time to get angry at the fact that we are all stood here with a lack of PPE, a lack of support from the government, also a lack of support from the general media. Where's Sky News? Where's the BBC? Where's the ITV? They were willing to support us. Sorry, my apologies, they are here. They were willing to clock us and support us when we were helping, but now we need the help. Tell me, how often do you wonder, how am I going to make my bills at the end of this month? How often am I going to have to do an extra shift to buy shoes for my child for school? So I want to say, everyone get on social media, get your signs up there and make this a wave. Not a COVID wave, but a wave for NHS pay. Also, the number on my placard is significantly lower than I reckon that actually has happened. There was a lot more deaths than the 46,000. Yeah.
Hello. Hello. Okay. There are about 3 or 4 more people who want to speak. But while I've been handed the MC duties, while my colleague has media commitments, if you could just bear with me, because I actually want to say something. Okay, forgive me, I have wobbly legs, so I'm using this to ground me. Sorry. Okay, my name's Ben Jackson. I'm a Unison Branch Secretary for Greater Manchester Mental Health Unison Branch. Our banner is here. Karen, who is running this rally, is our Assistant Branch Chair. And I am a community occupational therapist and I work for a community mental health team. And for 5 hours yesterday afternoon, I was in somebody's house in Burnage, wearing a mask for 5 hours, supporting somebody who had severe and enduring mental health condition, who is lonely, frightened, has been isolated throughout this pandemic. So I wanted you esteemed colleagues to understand that also the Cinderella service, which is mental health, is also on the front line. We have had 9 service users throughout Greater Manchester Mental Health who have died. We have multiple colleagues who have had COVID-19, including myself, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody, and I had it in a mild form. So what I'm going to say to you is everyone who works in the NHS is essential, and this pandemic could not have highlighted it more. The public is grateful, clapping, painting rainbows, statues. providing meal boxes for people, and Blue Hearts, singing in. But sadly, comrades, brothers, sisters, colleagues, friends, citizens of this proud and militant city, the birthplace of trade unions, clapping does not pay the bills. And there are NHS staff who are themselves vulnerable. To poverty, using food banks, desperately working overtime in PPE for hours and hours on shift, dripping in sweat, saving people's lives and putting their own at risk hour after hour, and often isolated from their families for weeks and weeks, holed up in hotels, away from their children and their loved ones. Can you imagine the impact that it's having on our colleagues? Can you imagine the mental health impact? Mental health services are already planning for a one-third surge in the demand for mental health services following COVID. They know it's coming. Just think about the impact this pandemic has had on all of our valuable healthcare workers. And on top of that, the vulnerable BAME colleagues who have lost their lives also. And yes, black lives do matter. I have had to stand on Benton Town Hall Square this week delivering a speech to Councillor Bob Allen because he lazily, in a racial hatred way, attacked BAME staff and workers throughout our society. The same workers who will have looked after Boris Johnson. How dare they? How dare they? They clap us and then they slap us. They clap us and then they slap us. They are patronising at best, incompetent, bungling, strutting buffoons. And we demand to be paid for the work that we do. We are a benchmark employer, and the NHS puts money into local communities. Never, never forget that. We buy things, we spend our money at local shops. Paying NHS staff is the best way to get the economy going. Just think about that. The NHS is the beating heart of this diverse and rich country. Never forget that. It is not about the balance sheet. It is about caring for one another. It is about saving people's lives. It's about nurses, porters, cleaners, occupational therapists, people on the front line, day-to-day caring for one another. That is what Great Britain and the United Kingdom is about. And never forget that while we're doing negotiations with Trump about selling off the NHS. How dare they? And the billions of pounds that have been spent on PPE that never arrived. How dare they? PPE, people desperate for PPE in the first 2 months of this pandemic. Colleagues coming to me, Ben, I'm frightened, I don't want to go on shift. And they still went on shift, and some of those people have died. How dare I have CPNs who last week were on shielding. They have suppressed immune systems. They've been brought back this week. They're already going out doing depots in people's houses. These are vulnerable NHS staff who are on the front line day in, day out, trying to do their best for their communities. Please, anybody, we need a pay rise. We deserve a pay rise. The country deserves a pay rise. We've had years and years of austerity. No more. This is a rich country with billions offshore in tax havens. Don't you worry about Mr. Virgin or all these people who've had to furlough. All that money, all that PFI money that's sitting offshore. Let's talk about that, the toxic PFIs. All that money needs to come back to this country and pay off frontline staff. the pay rise that they deserve. So they're calling for 15%. That's hardly anything. And all that does is almost catch us back up to where we were in 2000.